U.S. and European officials met in London today to discuss a ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine. Missing from the table, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who just last week suggested that the U.S. would move on if there wasn't progress soon. A warning repeated by President Trump and Vice President Vance. Joining us now is NBC's Danielle Hamamdjian and Michael McFaul, former U.S. ambassador to Russia and an MSNBC international analyst. Danielle, how far apart are the two sides right now? What do we know?
Yeah, Chris, well, I think the fact that we had no-shows such as Marco Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Special Envoy, and European foreign ministers, many will see this as an indication that they are indeed very far apart. Now, the talks, we understand, have wrapped up, and in the words of the Ukrainian delegation that did come here, the talks with Keith Kellogg, the envoy to Ukraine, the talks were productive. Now, we know there are many obstacles here, among them the Russian demand that Ukraine never join NATO, the issue of territory. What, if anything, Ukraine is willing to give up, which brings us to Crimea. Crimea was annexed by Russia in 2014. Much of the international community sees it as an illegal annexation. And there were various reports out in the past few days suggesting that the in the U.S. proposal, there would be a recognition, a formal recognition by the United States that Crimea belongs to Russia now. Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian leader, addressed this issue yesterday. He said there's nothing to talk about. We are not giving up the Crimean Peninsula. This is a core red line for him. He said it would violate the Constitution. Well, Donald Trump in the past few hours posted a lengthy post on Truth Social saying that those comments were harmful to the negotiations. He said that, and I quote, "Nobody is asking Zelensky to recognize Crimea as Russian territory. But if he wants Crimea, why didn't they fight for it 11 years ago when it was handed over to Russia?" The rest of the post is dedicated to criticizing the Ukrainian leader. It's no secret, of course, that there's been increasing frustration within the Trump administration. We've heard comments from Marco Rubio last week, for example, J.D. Vance today, about how time is running up. Take a listen.
We've issued a very explicit proposal to both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process. That means the Ukrainians and the Russians are both going to have to give up some of the territory they currently own. There's going to have to be some territorial swaps.
And Donald Trump had vowed to end this war in 24 hours. He's been in office for nearly 100 days now. But, Chris, he did say in that post that they are close to a deal. Let's see.
Danielle, thank you for that. So, Ambassador, how does it change the negotiations for the U.S. not to have its top diplomat at the table?
Well, of course, it weakens our position. Diplomacy is hard. You just can't do it for a little while and then walk away. You don't achieve results in that respect. And I hope the secretary will reconsider just pulling out whenever it's inconvenient. But secondly, I have to say I'm quite confused by their strategy. Why are we talking about Crimea right now? Chris, you and I have talked a lot over the years about negotiations and in the recent months. Out of the blue now, Crimea recognition is on the table. I want to know who did that. I worry that it was the American side. I've never seen Putin demand this as be part of the negotiations until recently. And it just underscores for me, if my hypothesis is true, that we're not negotiating very effectively with the Russians. And that is leading to this drawing out the way it has.
So when you hear yesterday for the first time Putin suggesting he's open to bilateral talks with Zelensky, what goes through your mind?
Well, it's a good sign. He's never said that before, and the Ukrainians have done the same. I think there's a frustration maybe with the current mediators that they're not achieving outcomes that either side want. I'm also suspicious of anything Putin's ever said about, wanting bilateral direct negotiations. He usually then adds all kinds of preconditions. But I see that as a small positive sign.
Ambassador Michael McFaul, we will continue to talk to you about this, I'm sure. Thank you for your time. Yes.